The start of this 500-mile event has been moved up a bit because of rain in the area. With Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers from the Hollywood Hotel, and the guys who will call the race in the booth, Darrell Waltrip, Larry McReynolds, and Mike Joy. Hey, Mike.
Here's the starting grid. And Darrell, the front row is filled with two drivers who have never raced here before.
Yeah, and only one other time as a rookie sat on the pole here. That's back in 1979, Harry Gant. And no rookie has ever won here.
That's 25 years ago. In all area, there are 6 drivers who will start their first Cup race at Pocono today on a track that really favors veterans.
Yeah, I mean, this is unique, Mike. We have no other track on the circuit like it. It has 3 corners, not 4. It has 3 straightaways, not 2. You have to shift here. You have to have the whole package here. It's quite a challenge for someone, even though they tested, that's never raced here.
You noted one change in that lineup. Dave Blaney is in the 30 car this weekend. Johnny Sauter ran the Busch race at Nashville, concentrated on that effort rather than this one.
So did our pole setter. You know, he didn't get back here probably till 5 o'clock this morning.
All right, let's go to pit road, beginning with the editor of Speedway Illustrated, Dick Berggren.
Rookie Casey Kane on the pole for the 4th time this year. Nobody has ever won his first here at Pocono, but if anybody can do it, this kid can. He was leading last week at Dover with less than 20 laps to go, hit oil, ran into the fence. He's ready to try it again here today. We could see history, Steve Burns.
Dick, Jeremy Mayfield won here in 1998, his first win on the circuit, and he won here again in 2000, outdueling the great Dale Earnhardt on the last corner of the last lap. But it's been 130 races between wins for Mayfield. He has said this weekend he has the best race car he has ever had. Matt Yoakum.
Steve, Mark Martin has never won a race here at Pocono. 5 times he's come close, finishing 2nd. He starts 4th today. 12 races and counting. That's how many races he has to try to whittle away 100 points to get into the top 10 in points to chase his first series title. Now, he has a very stout race car, and he has a lot of good runs here in the past. 24 times in 34 starts, he scored a top 10. That's the goal from here on out. He rolls off 4 today. Mike?
It's the goal of many drivers. Here is the NASCAR top 10 in the Nextel Cup standings. The top 10 after Richmond in September, locked into that final chase for the championship, plus anybody else within 400 points, which right now is nobody. So these 10 drivers are on a mission.
Yeah, they got to get into the top 10. That's what you got to pay attention to.
There you see it, 200 laps, 500 miles, pit road speed, 55 miles per hour. But trust me right here, long green runs, that pit window can make a difference for some competitors. Fuel mileage, fuel mileage.
Yeah, and you cannot take a chance on running out of fuel here.
All right, fellas. They come off turn number 3, the final corner here. Time to get this show on the road.
DW, we get to turn 1, flat corner, 200 miles per hour. Reach up there and pull that belts tight. One more time. Boogity, 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 boys, let's go racing!
I think they heard me.
One good thing about this racetrack, you see right from the get-go, they can run 2 and 3 wide through those flat corners.
Yeah, used to we like to run right around the bottom. Whoa, 89 there, Morgan Shepherd.
And that's a replacement engine this morning for Morgan.
This was going to be the first laps that we're going to see. He did not get to practice with that engine. Saw Mark Martin right there, the 6 car last week's winner. A good sign. He's got a good race car, something you don't see Mark Martin do. Quick practice early.
Yeah, but Joe got a heck of a jump across the tunnel there. And Joe Nemechek in the 01 car has jumped out in front. Nice move.
He's trying to recover from a couple of rough weeks, 2 weeks at Lowe's Motor Speedway and then last week at Dover. And we hear the caution is out.
Well, I think based on what happened last week, smoke, maybe there's some oil there. We better check it.
Last week at Dover, Casey Mears went into turn 3 with a broken oil line. The way the car behaved, it looked like he might have a tire rub. Instead, it was oil on the track, and it took race leader Casey Kane and others out of the race. So caution is the byword on lap 1 here at Pocono.
Green flag, green flag.
Hey, we're going racing again.
Single file restart. Ryan Newman in that 12 car, he's going to make it 3 wide down this front straightaway. He got a good start. He's going to pass 3 cars before he gets a turn 1 in that 12 car.
Yeah, I don't think Tony Stewart got off to a real good start, and that bottlenecked things up a little bit. Jeremy got alongside, and Ryan was able to get a draft off to both of them. You get a ton of draft here down these long straightaways at over 200 mile an hour.
Well, that front straightaway is the length of 3 quarter-mile drag strips.
3,700 feet on the front, 3,000 on the back. 200 mile an hour down both of them.
But Darrell, cars get so strung out here after a restart. If you can get a little bit of an advantage when the green flag comes out, it can be to your advantage because these cars get away from you after the start of a race.
Jimmy Johnson to second. Entering turn 3.
That's it. Casey Kane had the fastest car here in practice both times. Set on pole with a new track record and sliding back a little.
See Jeff Gordon in that DuPont car, the 24 car. He's trying to work his way up there to the 3rd position, walking through the garage. Definitely, everyone told me this is a car to watch. He was very good on long runs yesterday as he goes by his teammate Brian Vickers in the 25.
Dick Berggren.
Kane's car is just a little bit tight, Mike. He has called in and said that it's tight in 2 out of the 3 corners. Long race yet to go. They got plenty of time to adjust this automobile and bring it back to the speed that we saw here in practice and qualifying.
Practice yesterday, it was about 10 or 12 degrees warmer, and it was in full sun. It was very unlike today.
Well, I just got to reiterate that they didn't get back here from Nashville last night until about 5, 6 o'clock this morning. Probably take a little time for him to wake up.
But Mike, you're right. A lot of crew chiefs were anticipating this racetrack was going to be a little tighter, have a little more grip than it did, because yesterday when these guys were practicing, it was in the mid-80s. We see right now it's only in the mid-60s.
Terry Labonte peeks out from behind Casey Mears as they go 3 wide down this straightaway that could easily accommodate cars running 6 wide.
Until they get the right there.
Right.
And then they got to really get single file. The track's a lot more user-friendly up high than it used to be, as I was alluding to a little bit earlier. We used to hook the bottom there. You had to. You got out of the groove, you went up into the wall. But now they've got that outside groove working good down in turn 1.
Steve?
Mike Terry Labonte, the 2-time champ, had top 10 runs in both events here last year, but crew chief Jim Long not with the team. He's having some medical problems and stayed behind in Charlotte, North Carolina to have some doctors look at him. So the crew chief duties being shared by Mike Bumgarner and one of the team engineers.
Because we talked about momentum, Terry had a good run at Dover last week, finished 7th.
Around Pocono International Raceway. One car had trouble down in turn 1, Kevin LePage, but he did manage to pick up, here's LePage, that second white car right there, bottom of your screen, and hang on to the pack there. The other car behind him is Kirk Shelmerdine, who picked up a local one-race sponsorship from Lions and Sun Transportation here in Pennsylvania.
Riding here with Rusty Wallace in the 2 car.
I love to watch Rusty. Watch his hands. I mean, he just wants to reach over and shift. He said, I'm not going to shift this time. But look at his fingers there. I'll tell you. Really, he's focusing. He's concentrating. And he's up on the wheel.
But DW, notice right now he's up in 3rd gear. The shifter's forward. But now he's on this long straightaway. Just past the start-finish line, he'll reach up there and grab high gear.
You don't have to lift. Stay wide open. Just jerk it back into high gear. But here you'll use the clutch. You'll right in the middle of this turn. Reach over, slam it up into 3rd, and away you go.
And just to explain to why we're at an oval track and these guys are shifting is this: we have a battle right here with Jeremy Mayfield in the 19 car. This is a battle for 9th with Greg Biffle in the 16. We talked about these straightaways being different lengths. Shifting lets you maximize the RPMs on every straightaway.
Kevin LePage's problems did appear terminal. He's taken the negotiationsolution.com Chevy to the garage.
Now you heard Jeremy then. That was across the short chute. And he's actually shifting gears across that short chute, which is optional for a lot of these guys. Some are doing it, some aren't. Everybody on the straightaway, some on the short chute there between turn 2 and 3.
Matt?
Mike, that Hendrick horsepower looking stout early on. Jimmy Johnson under the caution told his crew chief Chad Canales, we have a great race car today. His spotter commenting about how well he looked as he works over the 01 of Joe Nemechek trying to take the lead, how well that car looked in the tunnel turn, and Jeff Gordon trying to get in that picture as well. So his car just a little too tight early on.
Here he goes for the lead right here. Got a great run off the tunnel, just like he said. Like Matt said, he's great across the tunnel.
Great job, buddy.
And look in your mirror, my friend, because here comes your teammate.
The first 4 cars are Hendrick Howard, Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Joe Nemechek, Brian Vickers.
See some wild restarts here.
Especially when we have a lot of cars up there that's 1 lap down trying to get their lap back.
It's all about timing here. You start way back over coming out of turn 3, and the guys way in the back get a jump. Of course, you got to pass to the right, but...
Were they 4 wide there? Probably.
It'll work till they get to turn 2. It better be about 1.5, 2 wide when they get there.
You got to tippy toe across there when there's somebody on the outside of you, I can tell you that.
You could feel Dale Jarrett just hitting the bump there as he went over the tunnel.
And we've been watching all week. They enter that corner at over 180 miles per hour. Here I'm having to really play with that throttle off that long sweeping turn 3.
You know, we heard Vickers' audio, and I thought he was being pretty optimistic that he might be able to get up there and mess with the 48 car.
See Terry Labonte right there, the 5 car. Remember, he was one of the first lead lap cars that came to pit road. Now, all he did do was put fuel in just to keep that thing full of fuel.
22 gallons of fuel here is like gold.
Half a gallon of fuel here is like
I'm telling you, keep me full of fuel.
Labonte goes past Casey Mears, the 10th place car, and the last of those that did not pit under this caution. Now, that caution lasted 6 laps. Let's watch this thread the needle move.
Excuse me. Pardon me. Coming through.
You do know I'm here, don't you?
Yeah. Could I have a little more room, please?
I just don't think that hole is quite big enough.
The problem is it's getting smaller.
These guys are battling for the 18th position.
What's that? The object in your mirror is closer than they look?
DW, you being one of those front fenders here, you're done.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't be doing that.
There are no outside mirrors on these cars because if they started with them, they wouldn't have many of them after lap 1.
I just thought this 22 gallons is like gold. 23 gallons like the gold mine.
Got a battle for second. Jeff Gordon in the 24 car. You heard Brian Vickers talk about getting Jimmy Johnson loose. Looks like he got loose over there in the tunnel turn 2.
Lesson learned, perhaps.
But I'm pretty impressed with this run by Brian Vickers. We've been talking about it this entire race, making his first Nextel Cup start here at Pocono. Tough, tough place.
Good day for the Hendrick cars. Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Brian Vickers, 1, 2, 3, and their teammate Terry Labonte, 10th and coming.
You know, we've been trying to make note to all of our fans out there who Casey Kane is. You know, you look at Brian Vickers 2 years ago, he was in the Busch Series driving his own car, somewhat struggling, and then Rick Hendrick picks him up, puts him in that 5 Busch car last year. He wins the championship, and here he is running pretty consistently in the top 5 in Nextel Cup.
3 long straightaways and 3 funnels.
These guys here are working on each other pretty hard. And of course, you saw the 17 get up. You get out wide there, you get to pushing, you got to get out of the throttle. The guy on the inside's got the advantage. And he can usually hold it across the short chute if he gets a good run.
Lap cars will figure into the mix here.
The thing about this place is when you can get back in the throttle, particularly over in turns 1 and 2, or in turns 2 and 3, you can really make up some time on the guy in front of you.
DW, I believe Robbie Loomis in that group, they've got Jeff Gordon in that 24 car. They have him dialed in. He's up there right now battling for the lead with his teammate, the 48 car, Jimmy Johnson. His car really gets good on long runs. Matt Yoker.
Back on lap 29, Larry Mack, Jeff was saying he needed grip on both ends of the race car, the front and the rear. Now, they made a track bar and air pressure adjustment on that first stop. Last stop, they pulled a spring rubber out of the right rear. They still have one more in there for another adjustment if they need it, but Jeff felt like that they were desperately in trouble. The car was loose and just getting looser, so they've made a number of adjustments trying to tighten up that race car, and it is coming to them very nicely.
Now, what they do with those spring rubbers, they're like a donut, and they just slice them up into thirds or fourths or whatever, and they can ease a piece out every now and then to just keep up with track conditions.
For the lead, Jeff Gordon under Jimmy Johnson, gives Gordon plenty of room. Lead change.
Well, if that was your boss.
Yeah, your mentor.
Your mentor.
Your parked car owner. Oh, Joe Nemechek.
That's tire smoke, isn't it? Looks like he got into some of that left front.
Clear low. Tire rub there.
Tire rub.
You heard his spotter tell him he had a tire rub. He's back in the 20th position.
Clear.
Holy cow. Wow. Looks like he just fell down on the left front.
You can almost see the left front fender, I think, bent in just a little bit.
A little bit of it there.
You know what, Larry? I'm not so sure the tire didn't grab hold of that fender and pull it in there. The thing is so low on the left front.
And the last time that car was on pit road, they were working on the left front.
Yeah, something's going on there. The left front's way too low.
All clear. All right, get back after. Get by
Trying to
him,
look
guys.
at the
You're
left
about
front here.
a half
It
second
looks
lap
normal
faster.
height
All
on the
clear.
straightaway.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think maybe if something is broke and drop the left front down.
Right behind his teammate there, Scott Riggs, who won yesterday's ARCA race.
Now, that is weird. How did it fix itself?
Ryan Pemberton, he's watching the same video that we are. Now let's see if we've picked up from Ricky Rudd's car how that might have happened. Ryan, watch this. Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's into the back of Jeff Burton in the 99 car.
And that old tough sidewall in that radial, maybe it pushed that fender out of its way.
Jeremy Mayfield in the Ray Abraham Dodge has caught Brian Vickers for third. They're about 2 seconds off of the lead.
Yeah, now we're talking. That 19 car, he was good in practice yesterday, and I expected great things out of him today, and Jeremy loved this racetrack.
And you know, DW, I did not hear him shift up that short chute in. We saw it yesterday in practice. You talked about it. As the race pace slows down, you don't turn as many RPMs. Now, I'm sure we'll see him shift here on the front stretch. He goes to 4th gear right there. And then we'll see him into turn 1, as we saw earlier with Rusty Wallace. He'll go back to 3rd gear. Now, let's ride with him down the Long Pond Straight, which is the second longest straightaway here. And let's see if he maybe actually shifts to high gear there. I anticipate that he probably will. High gear, and then when he gets to the tunnel turn, turn 2, back to 3rd gear, just maximizing those RPMs on every straightaway.
Now, Darrell, Mayfield shifts at the entrance to the corner. A lot of drivers shift down in the middle of the corner.
Yeah, well, in 1 and 2, you shift in the middle. At least I always did. Across these turns here, you need to do it before you get there.
Now, that time he did grab high gear, but only for a short period up that short chute right back to 3rd gear.
He's trying to catch Brian Vickers for 3rd place.
I know we have caution laps, but if he's shifting 6 times a lap, that's 1,200 shifts at this racetrack, 200 lap event.
That's why we call this join a roval.
You race it like a road course, but it's all left turns.
We'll shift many more times than that at Sonoma, where we'll be in the next couple of weeks.
Here's another one of our rookies, Scott Wimmer in that 22 car. Right now he's up in the 9th position, just like the other rookies making their first start here. He came up here and tested before he ever went on the racetrack. He got Mark Martin to take him around here in a rental car. Show me where you roll out of the throttle. Show me where you shift. Show me where the bumps are.
Matt?
That's due to a 2-decade-old friendship between owner Bill Davis and Mark Martin, both from Batesville. Now Wimmer, a rookie, having a very solid run. His car was extremely tight everywhere earlier in the race, but crew chief Frank Stoddard has slowly worked on this race car, making it better and better. Air pressure adjustment on the right side, track bar adjustment. Remember back to 2002, Frank was working on the 99 and Jeff Burton. They were having a great run going here in 2002 before a cut tire ended their chances. Wimmer having a solid run in the 9th position.
Here are 5 of the 6 drivers who've never raced here before in Cup. P.J. Jones is the other, though he's not officially in the Rookie of the Year chase. Third place changed hands. Mayfield made the move on Brian Vickers and went through for third.
And I believe this is a case of Jeremy Mayfield's car, the 19, getting a little better. I think Brian Vickers, the 25, is starting to lose the handle on his car just a little bit.
Plus, Jeremy's got to have it's got to have somewhat of a lower gear in his car, which will help him up off these turns as the race goes on with that shifting he's doing.
That's the reason he has to shift all 3 straightaways.
Neither of those drivers stopped during the caution flag at lap 60. There were 10 drivers who stayed out.
Tell you, another car that, again, they rolled the dice a while ago. They were one of the cars that stayed out. Michael Waltrip in the 15 car, but he's had 3 consecutive top 10 finishes here of late. But I think what they have finally done, Darrell, they have found an aero balance that Michael likes. This is a brand new race car, untested, but it mirrors that car he ran so well with back at Charlotte.
Terry Labonte, look at this, he's still coming and taking no prisoners. He went right by that battle, made it 3 wide, just like he was on the highway.
You get a double toe.
Jeff Gordon, your leader, at 77 laps.
The race has been semi-sweet so far, Jeff Hammond, and Jimmy Johnson has led the most laps. By the way, the guys led the most laps 9 of the last 10 times here, has failed to win the race. Mechanical problems early, wear and tear.
Right there as far as see Todd Bodine, along with Kevin LePage. This race, Dave Blaney driving for Richard Childers, but then Brendan Gaughan, his car erupts in smoke. Trouble in the 32 car for Ricky Craven, and then Michael Waltrip runs out of gas.
And then in turn 2, Ward Burton loose in front of Junior, spins and smokes, but an extraordinary save from Ward Burton. Jeff Gordon passing Jimmy Johnson in a car that Jeff co-owns, part of Hendrick Motorsports, and the success they've had, and then pit problems here for Jeff.
Yeah, for our leader right there. They didn't get the left rear lug nut on. He had to come back in and relinquish the lead. As you see right there, Robbie Loomis and John Hendrick discuss it in NASCAR, but been kind of one of those up and down days, but it's been a real strong day for Hendrick Motorsports. Jimmy Johnson leading, and the rookie Brian Vickers running second.
The 20-year-old, we've had 15 different leaders. 16 is the record for this race. We've just passed the halfway point, and give us your observations at this point.
So far, it looks like it's another one of those runaways for Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus. The car's working really well, but again, real strong day for Hendrick Motorsports. If it's not Jimmy Johnson, it's Brian Vickers or Jeff Gordon been leading this race, as well as Terry Labonte, their other teammate. He's running 5th.
Well, let's look at Jeff Gordon and Rusty Wallace side by side. Jeff pulling in front of Rusty.
Got a little close competition there, and the rookie Scott Wimmer, he's trying to dice it up with these 2 guys also, and they're all racing for position right there, and got a pass right now for Greg Biffle, goes around Jeremy Mayfield.
That's for 3rd place. You were mentioning Hendrick Motorsports. Hendrick Motorsports has won 8 Pocono races, and 3 of the 400 drivers have actually led today. We showed you Jeff Gordon, and there's Greg Biffle.
And did you see Greg Biffle get loose off of that corner? I mean, he had a handful as he came up on that straightaway. I mean, he really had a handful, Chris.
And Greg Biffle, one of those guys who was doing double duty. The Nashville race last night, which ended in the early morning hours, had to rush here to race in Pocono. Let's rejoin Mike, Larry, and Darrell.
106 laps, 107 we're running now, and we're just past halfway.
I couldn't help but get tickled when we saw Greg Biffle in that 16 car. Mike, we did the Busch race at Dover last Monday. We watched him run 175 laps off turn 4 that way and won the race.
He does does that a lot. He loves to get that right rear quarter panel up against the wall. He does it all the time.
Let's go back and talk about our car right now that's running in the 26th position. Joe Nemechek in the 01 had a great qualifying run, led this race early. We saw the problem on pit road. What we're being told is right now he only has third gear. And Darrell, that'll work around this racetrack. He just has to be careful with his RPMs right here on this front straightaway because he can't go to high gear.
Right.
He just kind of roll out the throttle a little early.
That's kind of the way we used to race here, you know. You just kind of watch the tag. You got it up there to that maximum RPM. You feathered it down to the corner.
You can watch his RPMs down the Long Pond straightaway, and I've been watching his lap times. He's losing maybe 3 or 4 tenths a lap to the faster race cars.
Look at that thing. Well over about 9,600.
And it probably will not be as much up this short chute. You can watch it right here because this is the shortest
Should be about
straightaway.
85 across there. 80. Ooh, wrong.
About 9,200 up the short chute.
It's got some gear laid up in that thing, I can tell you that.
Right here's where he really has to watch his RPMs down this long straightaway. But he is 1 lap down right now.
Back in 11th place, Rusty Wallace and Bobby Labonte have been in the chase all day. There are 25 cars on the lead lap. At lap 108, 92 to go. Two lead changes, 15 different leaders, only 3 caution flags thus far, and they've been fairly brief. Only 14 laps total of caution today. So Jimmy Johnson out front of his Hendrick Motorsports teammate Brian Vickers, both in Chevrolets. The gap 12 seconds. On pit stops, Tony Stewart came in 7th, came out in a cluster of cars, could not accelerate, and so came off pit road 16th. Biffle all but pushing Ryan Newman on the restart.
He is pushing him because he knows that 48 car is right behind him.
Just remember, Ryan Newman only has those 2 right side tires. Everyone behind him has 4 fresh tires.
Look at that 48 car drop to the inside. Makes a move around Biffle. And boogity, boogity, boogity down the back.
See Michael Walter right there in the 15 car. Now he's out there 1 lap down. Remember, ran out of fuel early. He's just trying to become the first car a lap down. Maybe catch a caution, get a free pass.
Ooh, boy. He and Biffle got close right there.
Still there by a nose. Watch the 88. 3 wide, you're in the middle.
And here comes Dale Jarrett, who is also
what, this is as good as Dale Jarrett as we ride here with him here down the front stretch. That 88 car, I think this is the best he has looked all year long. Brand new car. They came up here and tested. Looking real good here, Dick Berger.
Yeah, they sure are. This is the first intermediate house car that they have ever had. Mike Ford, the crew chief, said the car is a bit more responsive than anything that they have had here before. They haven't even touched that thing since happy hour. And for the Dale Jarrett fans, he has been looking for a top 5 since he won Rockingham in February last year. Not a top 5 since then. But if he's going to get one, this is the place to get it. Other than last year, Jarrett had 6 top 3s in a row here at Pocono. He is exceptionally good at this speedway and looking very, very strong right now.
Well, I think they got a nice package here with the in-house car and the new Ford engine. I know the engine guys have got to be sitting there holding their breath. If this thing makes it to the end, these engines do, I think they found the power they've been looking for, because those cars are fast on the straightaway.
They better look in their rearview mirror, though. Look at Jeff Gordon right there. You see it 2 3/4 seconds behind our leader. Remember, trying to overcome that mistake of the lug nut under green. Now he's back up there battling for the 5th position with Greg Biffle.
Cyril Labonte right there behind him as well, and Jeremy Mayfield right behind him. So, and Casey Kane right back there behind him. So this tightened up at the front.
That Casey Kane and those guys have made a nice recovery. Darrell, I think two things. I think they've made their car better. I think he spent the first 100 laps trying to figure out how to race people
Whoa,
here.
smoke. I think we see smoke out of the 18.
Scott Wimmer got in it in the 22 car.
Must be some oil over there.
Caution is out.
Oh,
Sterling Marlin's in it, the 40 car.
Oh, that's a shame.
And a tough break for Wimmer, who had a strong day going here. He was a lead lap car.
Sterling did too. He led there for a little while, and Sterling is one of his best racetracks. I hate that for him.
5th yellow flag of the day.
Not sure what's up with the 18. He's still going. Bad break for Wimmer.
We're back, but we lost the radiator.
And that will be about the 4th or 5th engine failure that we've seen so far here at lap 120.
Tell you, they're working these engines about as hard as they can work them. So they're expecting a lot out of them their last 500 miles.
Sterling had a good car last week at Dover, got caught up in that same wreck in 3 and 4 when the oil was laid down.
Can't see.
I don't believe we're going to go to the garage.
I can't see the right side, but it doesn't look bad on the left side.
Front valence at the bottom looks pretty bad. There's smoke from Bobby Labonte.
Just like we saw last week, a little oil there. Some cars just kind of go right over it, and there's no problem. A couple more hit right on top of it, and around they go. You look back at Casey Kane and Mark Martin last week, you'd say, how come Mark didn't wreck? But Mark was about 2 feet lower into the turn than Casey Kane was.
What did Wimmer get? The outside wall, or did he get into Sterling?
I'm not sure.
Dick Berggren, what's wrong with Bobby Labonte?
It's an oil line. Remember last week, Casey Mears also had an oil line failure. We've been seeing a bunch of these things. The cars are set up right now, Mike, so that they are running so close to the racetrack, it is not unusual for oil lines to fail, some of which have actually been dragging on the speedway. Can't guarantee that's what's wrong here, but I can guarantee you it's an oil line problem with Bobby Labonte's car.
Let's ride with Robbie Gordon, see if we get a little more insight into what happened here. No.
He made it through wide open. Got to be quick, don't you?
Feliz, basta pizza.
Laps to go in the Pocono 500. Jimmy Johnson out in front of Ryan Newman now by 6 seconds. Dale Jarrett closing in on second place. Casey Mears, Rusty Wallace. Jeff Gordon just went by Dale Earnhardt Jr. for 8th, and Terry Labonte passed Tony Stewart for 10th.
That thing is bad to the bone, I can tell you that. He's beating these guys almost a second a lap right now.
I've been watching the defending champion of this race, Tony Stewart, in the 20 car, and he was one of those cars that did come to pit road and top off, but I'm starting to see him lose time on the stopwatch and lose position. We've been watching him run that weird line down the front stretch. Dick Berggren, what's going on with the 20 car?
The 20 has lost overdrive, Larry McReynolds. They only have 1-to-1. They don't have the opportunity to run it into overdrive anymore.
So he's in a similar situation as Joe Nemechek in the 01, but I think he still at least has first and second gear to be able to get off pit road, but he's going to have to watch RPMs down this front stretch.
Yeah, his teammate is ready to sack him up pretty good here. I thought he was going to pull down and let him go.
But DW, you know what transmissions, when one gear goes, there's more to follow normally.
It's usually a lot of rattling that goes on down in there.
6th place the battle. Jeff Gordon pulling up on both Kurt Busch and Casey Kane. This will be the pass for 7th. As Gordon is moving back to the front.
Now, with 4 tires and plenty of fuel, he's a guy to keep my eye on.
Jeff Gordon 13 seconds behind his teammate Jimmy Johnson.
But Jimmy's got to come to the pit road, and it'll be a while before the 24 does.
And Jeff Gordon in the 24, he can run about 20 more laps from here based on topping off. Now, Rusty Wallace in the 2 car, he'll be another one of those cars that's going to have to pit here pretty soon, Steve Byrne.
Yeah, Larry Mack, he said that his car was a little tight before the last stop, but he likes it now. He's happy with that number 2 Dodge. And Larry Mack has been a busy week. He traveled 7,000 miles in the air, testing in Sonoma early in the week, then flying to Talladega in Alabama for a test there, then on to Sparta, Kentucky, where his Busch Series team tested. And after today's race, he's flying back to Phoenix, Arizona for 2 days of meetings.
And what a lot of people don't know, he flies his own jet most of the time.
You know what? I mean, that's all well and good. These guys got a lot of irons in the fire. But I want a guy like Jimmy Johnson. He does one thing, and he does it right. That's drive that car right there at max speed all the time.
It's paying off today.
And he is the leadingest driver in this series over the last few races by about the distance from here to Charlotte.
We've been watching Dale Jarrett. He made a run at Ryan Newman a while ago in the 12 car, but it seems satisfied right now just to hang back there. But we do know that he's one of the cars that will have to come to pit road. But I worked with DJ. I worked with him in '95. If there's a guy that knows how to save fuel at a big racetrack like this, it's Dale Jarrett. We won the race here in '95. He saved us 2 laps of fuel. That's a lot of fuel. But how you do it, Darrell? Roll out the throttle a little early, get to high gear quicker, pick up the throttle a little later.
Pretty good shape here, Dale. You got Dale Jarrett in 3rd, you got Gordon in 6th, and you got Terry Labonte in 10th. That's some cagey old veterans that know how to win this race.
Experience.
Got that experience.
Jimmy Johnson expected to pit road, Matt, within what, the next 7 or 8 laps?
That's the ballpark area. Jimmy Johnson continues to yard the competition, now an 8.2-second lead over Ryan Newman. And you know, when you look back to last week, part of that accident on lap 345, but this team has a deadline, showing a lot of maturity. They try to put the bad things behind them. They cannot talk about anything bad that happens the previous week starting noon on Monday. They look ahead, look to the race ahead, trying to keep focused on the task at hand, winning races, winning championships, trying to win a race today here at Pocono.
There's not a thing you can learn from bad experience except not to do it again.
Jimmy Johnson has a 9-second lead.
That would be 45 laps to go.
That's a lot of laps on one tank full.
But I think what Jimmy Johnson wants to do, he wants to get the lead. Then he can just sit out there and pace himself, Darrell.
Well, like I said, he's got a second in the bank in speed. He can back up a second and still outrun all these cats, and that's going to save a lot of fuel.
Single file here, 3 wide behind him.
And look at our 3rd place car, Bobby Labonte, the 18 car. You got to tip your hat to that crew. Michael Fatback McSwain, remember, he's the car that drug the oil filter into, that put oil all over the racetrack, stayed on the lead lap. He's up there in the 3rd position. And his teammate, Tony Stewart, in that 20 car, we need to make note, he's back out there 6 laps down. Those guys changed that transmission in less than 10 minutes.
Way to the inside, and he's got a lot of help. There goes Stewart right behind him.
And look at our
Robbie Gordon.
Look at our points leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the A car. Remember, he fought to stay on the lead lap most of the day. I'm going to contribute this track position right here to that call that group made earlier when they topped him off just after a caution came out. He got the track position. He kept it. Now he's battling Ryan Newman for the 6th position.
Clear.
Newman lets him go, Darrell. That's a place you don't want to be side by side, do you?
No, we've seen that all day. You know, you just can't do
2 of them inside.
The guy on the inside is going to slip up into the guy on the outside. So you got to really watch it.
And Casey right with them, having another great day in the target dodge.
You know, his teammate, we've not been able to talk about him a lot today. Jamie McMurray back there in the 42 car. He has finally clawed his way into the top 10.
I noticed a 25 car went by then, Larry, and he's been against the fence somewhere, but he got the right side of it all scuffed up.
You saw Jeff Gordon duck underneath and take a spot away from both Vickers and Terry Labonte. Whoa! The 50 car, P.J. Jones stuffed into the wall coming off that corner.
And then you can do that. You come off that corner carrying a lot of speed, and that thing will jump sideways and smack the wall.
And I'm going to tell you, Jeff Gordon's very lucky he didn't bounce back off the wall right into him, because he was right to the left of him when he hit that wall. I think we'll see it right here.
I think one thing you notice, that's right at the end of the new soft barrier, right there. See how it sticks out there?
I mean, you see how close Jeff Gordon was to that.
No contact and not a lot of damage on the 50.
He hit the safer barrier over there, and they don't seem to do as much damage as the regular wall does. They're not supposed to, and they don't.
And Darrell, I've been watching Jimmy Johnson, our leader right now. He got by Jeremy Mayfield in the 19. He seems content just to ride right there. All he wants to do, we talked about it, just keep the lead.
Yeah, matter of fact, you know, he's probably telling Jeremy, come on, push me. Save a little fuel.
3 wide right here. Jeff Gordon trying to come to the front on Biffle. Ricky Rudd outside, and Stewart in trouble.
Spun it around.
Caution flag.
Now this is going to help Jimmy Johnson, Jeremy Mayfield, those guys that are out there trying to save fuel. These cautions will allow that, because I think they're painted in a box, Darrell. I don't think with 25 laps to go they can come to pit road and give up track position.
Here we come, 20 laps to go.
Green.
Listen, Larry, I've been here and done this a bunch. I know what that feels like.
Everybody peeks out.
The 24 car, he's back there in the 13th position. We feel like he's one of the cars that maybe has enough fuel, unlike possibly his teammate, Jimmy Johnson.
Well, I just can't count out a couple of guys that are back in there, too. The 18 looks good, and so does the 88, and the 97 runs awfully strong here. And I got to believe Dale Jarrett might have a little something left.
See Jeff Gordon moving by Ward Burton's 0 car. This is a good run, because Ward Burton, he's up in the 11th position. Remember, he was one of our earlier cautions in the beginning of the race. It spun out.
Yep, kept fighting back. And here comes Terry Labonte, who spent most of the day in the top 10. One of a record-tying 16 different drivers who've led this race.
And most of these cars we're watching right here, they came to pit road and topped off. We feel like most of this group can make it to lap 200.
This is fun to watch down this front straightaway.
Oh, yeah, you duck out. Sometime you get a run off a 3. You can get such a great run off a 3 sometime, but you can duck out, dive to the inside. You're trying to break the draft, the side draft. So you're about way down on the inside and get away from that guy.
Dale Jr. behind Jarrett has finished 6th or better in the last 3 races. He's 6th right now. Trying to hold that point lead.
Doing what you have to do on a day when maybe it's not as good as you'd like it to be. That's to get a good finish.
Jarrett has a run on Kurt Busch. This is for 4th.
You count that guy out right there. I'm telling you. Dale Jarrett knows how to save a little something for the finish.
Going up there, get Robert.
On up there, boy. Get him.
You've heard that before, too.
Yes, sir. You the man.
Little cheerleading never hurts.
Look at this crowd. Kenseth following Jeff Gordon. Terry Labonte following Kenseth. Biffle following Labonte on the inside.
Yeah, it used to be fun, Larry, when you could call them up and say, okay, boys, I'm going now.
Like Gordon on a little bit of the edge of the asphalt there.
Tell you what, Robbie Gordon out here, the 31 car, he's up in the top 10, up in 9th position.
Another one of those sleepless night drivers from Nashville last night.
Gordo got cut off there by Ryan Newman.
Hey, congratulations to Jason Leffler, who won that Busch race in Nashville.
That was great. Him and Booty Barker, I knew they were going to win a race. They've been closer and closer and finally pulled one off.
He hit the curve. He hit the curve.
He hit Newman. Yellow.
Around
That's
goes
coming under you.
6, 7 car lengths. Here comes Jamie McMurray up alongside of Dale Jr. back there, and look at him fan out.
Harvick, that's Harvick way on the bottom.
He's back there in 14th position. Hadn't made a lot of noise today, trying to get to the front here, get to the top 10.
Matt Kenseth's trying to get around Terry Labonte to move up a spot.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 8 car pressure, and Kurt Busch at 97. Here comes Jeff Gordon in the 24 as well.
Oh, baby, you get to swinging around back there on that back straightaway, and you get down here to the tunnel turn, something's got to give.
We saw that a while ago.
Shootout or slugfest, take your pick. Mayfield is closed right up on Johnson.
I tell you one thing I like about Mayfield, Larry. If he now has the fuel to go all the way, we know he's shifting across that short chute, which gives him a tremendous amount of speed across there.
Mayfield's there.
Tell you who else is there, that green car, Bobby Labonte. He's right behind Jeremy Mayfield in the 18.
Steve?
Hey, Mike, I just talked to Sammy Johns, who does R&D for Evernham Motorsports, and I said, how close are you? He said, close enough that we all want to throw up, but we're cutting him loose as he pulls up along the 48.
Steve, DW, Mike, I'm watching Jeremy Mayfield get everything he can get out of that car right now. The last time in turn 1, he drove it so deep, it smoked the left front fender where the tire traveled up into it.
Since his last win, June of 2000 here, Mayfield has finished second 7 times.
It's been close. Had a great car last week at Dover after sitting on the butt pole.
Bobby Labonte third, and right there, Dale Jarrett fourth.
Tell you who's made a move, I was just going to say, under the top 5, Jeff Gordon, 24. He's passed more cars than anybody today, I think.
He's hustling, baby. Bobby Labonte had the fastest lap that time, only by a few hundreds, but he was the quickest.
Kenseth trying Casey Mears. Here comes Harvick, looking even lower.
He tried to make it 3 wide, getting into 1.
There wasn't enough racetrack.
Jimmy Johnson just ran 53.4.
Wow.
And Jeremy Mayfield just ran 53.40. That's the fastest lap he has ran this entire race. So Bobby Labonte as well. That was his fastest lap.
They all are after it right now, and I'll tell you, I like the way Jeremy is hanging on.
Jeremy could reach out and touch Jimmy Johnson's car. He's that close.
Talking about close.
Oh.
Hello. That may not work.
Kenseth got in the back of Harvick.
Battle for 12th.
Uh-oh, Dale Jarrett down on pit road, out run out of the race. 5 laps to go. Jarrett looking for his first top 5 in a year and a half. Not going to have for the lead.
Jimmy Johnson in the 48. He gets a good run on the high side, though. He's able to stay in front going down the Long Pond straight.
I like the way Jeremy gets through turn 1 down there. He can get down on the bottom. That's going to get him up beside of Johnson if he doesn't watch out. Hear him? He's shifted going into the tunnel. He's been shifted across his short chute. But I think he's letting it all hang out now.
I think he's reaching down and getting everything that car's got and then some.
Right. Caution's out, buddy. Back it down. Stay up high. Caution is out. Stay up high.
5 to go. Caution is out.
Now the red flag lap is 196. We will be completing 196 now, so I think we're past that window.
They're going to red flag it.
And we're here that Jeff Burton in the 99 car almost simultaneously as Dale Jarrett blew up. We know both those cars had the new engine package.
Looks like the new engine package is 5 miles short. He got in the oil. Guarantee you he got in the oil. That or else. You don't reckon Harvick and he got together, do you?
At this stage, Darrell, I'm not going to reckon anything. 4 laps to go. Jimmy Johnson is going to score his 9th career victory in his 89th start. All of them on super speedways. Jimmy Johnson wins the Pocono 500. He ties Dale Jr. for the most wins this season with 3.
Hey, what another good run for his teammate Terry Labonte. Finishes 7th. Had a great run all day long.
Victory lane with Jimmy Johnson, who wins the slowest Pocono Cup race ever.
And for the 9th time in his NASCAR Nextel Cup Series career, Jimmy Johnson goes to victory lane. The first time here at Pocono, adding another Hendrick victory on this triangle. A kiss from his fiance. Now, first off, this was not an easy win. You had to overcome the miscue on pit road.
Yeah, I mean, we were just doing what we were told the rules were in the driver's meeting, that the first time by, the pits are going to be closed, the leader's first time by, and then after that, when the pace car picks you up, second time by for the leader. And second time I came by, or the first time I came by, the pits were open. There's a mistake by the flagman at the end of pit road, and luckily it cycled itself out and worked out. But for a while there, I was pretty nervous. But I can't say enough about the teamwork behind this whole Lowe's Racing team, the performance of this Lowe's Racing, Lowe's Monte Carlo that we have. Fast race car, fast pit stops, fast driver, and Hendrick Motorsports as a whole had an awesome day today.
What about the maturity of you and this team putting Dover behind you?
Yeah, Dover, I mean, it wasn't anything that we could control, so it was easy to let that one go. I was very frustrated with a lot of issues, and then it's nice to come back this weekend and, take off, or start off, finish up wherever we should have been, so I'm very excited.
NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.